early, baby. Set it early. 180.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up, the best damn Kansas City Chiefs podcast in the kingdom.
Chiefs Kingdom ACU crew, we're back with another live podcast for that ass. It's Thursday night. We don't usually come on Thursday, but our schedules were cleared tonight, so we thought, why not? Let's jump on, talk a little Chiefs, talk a little draft. Steve, what are you doing?
I don't know, but you sound like the Micro Machines guy.
I'm trying.
You're talking too fast.
I got to go quick. There's always somebody that's like, why are you going to play an intro? Why are you going to talk?
Yeah, slow it down a little bit. Let's chill.
Give me all the info.
Let's chill a little bit. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to talk a little bit of Chiefs draft stuff because we're bored and we want to. And we see that some of you guys were bored too.
Yeah, you don't have to have a reason to talk Chiefs draft. You can talk that all
out.
day, every day.
It works out great now, doesn't it? Yeah, man. So how's your day going, Mike?
It's long. It's been a long day.
I hear you. I woke up feeling like microwaved butthole and just felt like complete ass for, a long time. Just now starting to feel slightly human. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. We may have a special guest on tonight. I'm not going to promise.
We might.
That's the key word. He said he may or may not jump on, so I'm not even going to say who it is. I don't want to get people horned up. Actually, I don't think anybody would go crazy. It's not like a play or anything. Let's not get that crazy. But yeah, if he jumps on, we'll talk some draft with him. If not, we'll just talk drafts ourselves, Steve. But have you seen the news today? Apparently everybody's on to our boy, Steve.
They are.
Somebody put the word out on Kingsley Sumaitaia, offensive tackle BYU.
We opened up the floodgates.
Wonder who put that word
Kingsley out. Yeah. It's like, it's funny because I hadn't heard anything about Kingsley from anyone.
Zip.
And then we like,
it was all Patrick Paul.
Yeah. And we were talking about that one day when we did our mock draft, and it's like, dude, this guy fits. This guy makes way more sense, right? Like, this looks like a really good pick. So let's go ahead and maybe the Chiefs are onto him. Well, maybe they are, Mike. Maybe they are.
I know everybody else is. PFF's talking about it. I've seen everybody putting them in mock drafts all the time.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. A lot of people start putting them in the mock drafts.
He's the new hot take guy. He's the
go ahead, baby. Get the word out because it's a good pick. I think it'd be a good pick. So it is what it is. I like Kingsley.
I just want you guys run around and tell everybody who said it first, because they're going to act like nobody over here said anything. People's also starting to get horned up over Ricky Pearsall.
I noticed that too.
I've noticed that. Like, who talked about Ricky Pearsall about a month ago?
Mike,
I tweeted out the other day.
You said that he was going to be right here on this show a long time ago. You're like, if someone asked a question actually in a live stream, they were like, who do you think is going to be the sleeper receiver this year? Like Puka, because you picked Puka last year as being the sleeper and you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, well, it's going to be Ricky Pearsall from Florida, I think. Now I've seen that exact quote from people on X and everywhere else that he's going to be the Puka Nacua of this year.
It's cool.
Mike, look, Ron knows. Ron said, here's a 5-bomb, baby, because you're a trendsetter.
Ron said, here's the 5-bomb, Mike. You and Steve are trendsetters. You know what? I don't think you can be a trendsetter, though, unless people pay attention to you. And that's one thing. Me and Steve had this conversation today. Like, you know how hard it is to break in through, like, because we started like 2 years ago, so nobody really takes us seriously. You're not on the channels and everything where people take seriously. I don't know why. Dude, I could go in there tomorrow and tell you every freaking move the Chiefs are going to make for the next year and a half, and magically nobody will care. And then if I'm like, hey guys, I said that, they're going to be like, are you trying to brag? Are you trying to toot your own horn, buddy?
Yes.
And then I'll say, yeah, I kind of am.
It's okay, Mike, because the ACU crew knows.
Yeah, the ACU crew gets it, man. They get it. You know, if you're in and you know. If you want to watch from the outside and act like you don't watch us, then parrot what we say and claim it as your own, you can do that too. You can do that too.
We're
You
okay
can't
with it.
acknowledge us if you acknowledge us, then they know where they're getting their info from. Don't put us on the map, baby. Don't do it. Just let us lurk in the bush, in the darkness.
That's awesome. Hey, John said he's stuck at work till 3 a.m. Damn, man. Hopefully this will help you for a little while.
John, just break out of there.
Yeah, just quit.
Go home, bro.
Just quit your job. That's my advice to everybody.
Just quit your
Just
job.
quit.
Man, it's so easy to get
Do
by
something fun.
in the world, man. Everything's so cheap right now. Everything's so good, man. Life's just A-okay out there.
Yeah. Jared says, just getting here. Please shed some light on the wide receiver. Well, I'm sorry, running back wide receiver hybrid. I'm assuming you're talking about the rugby guy. I don't even know his name right now. Let me tell you why
I've been horned.
Let me tell you why I don't
rugby,
know.
Man.
Let me tell you why I don't know this guy's name, Mike.
Because you don't care?
Reese Lamet or something, maybe. The reason why is because I don't really give that much thought to practice squad people. Like, I'm not going to sit on here and tell you guys, hey, this guy that's never played football in his life, that is literally just on some kind of program, that he's going to come over here and he's going to be the next Tyreek Hill. He ran 24 miles an hour in a rugby game, so he's going to light the NFL on fire. No, that's not happening. Like, this guy probably isn't making the squad. If he does, it's practice squad. But I mean, it's intriguing. It's cool to kick the tires on it.
I think he probably does make the practice squad, right? Because no matter what, it don't even count against us.
Right. Since it's the international thing, it doesn't count against
we had Jason Godric. They called him Chew Godric.
Well, there was like wasn't there like a tight end or an edge rusher or something from like somewhere in Africa like a year or two ago?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit insulting. Like, I get it. I'm not trying to take away nothing from the athlete that this guy is. But it's a tad bit insulting that people think that he's going to just come in and automatically make the 53-man, returning kicks and catching balls.
Mike Burton, this is what I've been wanting to say on Twitter. This is what I've been wanting to say to everybody the whole time. Like, can y'all chill? This is a big, fat nothing burger. Like,
do you remember last offseason?
I think everybody's just bored.
Their bodies were exploding over the horniness of Justin Ross, and all we got out of him was a criminal investigation. And he's actually played the game before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, we need to chill out. And I've seen people parroting it, man. There's been some people in the Chiefs, talking head space. Well, with the new rules, he'll be a great kickoff guy. Maybe he can be a wide receiver too. What? Wide receiver too? I think that's already covered between Brown or Rice. Or like I like to call him.
Look, man, here's the thing with it. Like I was saying, the guy is
from Qdoba.
Look, the guy is a phenomenal athlete. Like, I did watch some of the clips of him playing rugby. He's ridiculously fast.
Yeah, he's fast. He's strong.
He's a great athlete. But I'm sorry, it's just not like you're not going to snap your fingers and be an NFL player. So there's a long road ahead of that guy.
Right. Do you not think it's a little bit insulting to guys that have played football their entire careers and trained for it and then think this guy's just going to come in and take over?
Absolutely.
Like, Andy can do miracles. Well, he can't do miracles. You know what, Andy? If he could do miracles, he'd have made the wide receiver room last year look awesome.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll tell you this right here, and take it for what you will.
Steve, we're just being negative, bro. You're just we're being negative again.
I'm not. I'm just saying. Here's my take. Here's my take on it. Like, a lot of people think he's going to be a kick returner. I would bet you every penny in my bank account that Kadarius Toney's a better kick returner than that guy. Like, it's not even a question.
Well, I think if you're gonna just make him a kick returner, do you really are you gonna take an entire roster spot for a kick return? It's not that important. I think by the end of the year, we're gonna see this new kickoff rules not being that big of a deal.
Well,
I don't think it'll change anything that much.
Can I be real quick, Enrique, member for 5 months? Appreciate you, brother.
He said he wants to order some brown rice, the bowl.
But back to that, just can I go ahead and get this off my chest? The new kickoff rule's stupid, by the way. It's dumb. I really wish they'd quit messing with everything. Yeah, everybody's like,
I think it could be a little exciting, though. I like the kickoff rule better than the hip drop rule. Let's put it that way.
It's only exciting because they screwed up the kickoffs to begin with. If they hadn't already screwed it up, then they wouldn't have to be looking for some kind of weird XFL rule to incorporate into the freaking.
Dang. Steve done froze up. He got so pissed.
Like, think about that for a second.
Yeah. You froze up a little bit. You got so pissed off, dude. You froze.
Oh, you disappeared on mine. I don't know what happened. But either way, this whole thing was put together by guys that did pro wrestling, that did a football league, and came up with a rule. Like,
well, look, it puts it back in the play.
Yeah, you do have to return it now, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they screwed up by messing with it in the first place, but now at least this is something that puts a little more excitement back into the kickoff. But the hip drop thing is ridiculous. That's another stupid rule in which all the officials are going to sit around and they're going to say, well, I think this, and then they're going to throw a flag in the fourth quarter late and screw somebody. And if the Chiefs ever get that call in their favor, it's another reason the league's rigged for the Chiefs.
The hip drop rule's stupid, and apparently the NFLPA is against the rule, and it's just the owner. So we'll see how that goes.
I think any NFL player is probably against that rule. I mean, did that take out Patrick Mahomes? Yeah. I mean, it's still football.
It's just a tackle. Like, if you can't prevent someone from getting hurt playing at
like,
the highest level of football.
He landed on his ankle, and it's like, well,
big deal.
You can't really, like, that's as asinine as the whole you landed on him with your full body weight.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Shut up.
Convenience talking about Reese Sammet here says his route running looked rough on tape. If you watched him running routes, you'll know exactly why we say it's a nothing burger. He obviously is not a football player. So he's got all the traits. He's
not a very good wide receiver.
But there's no way. It's just not possible. I watched the same thing that he watched, I'm pretty sure, where he was trying to do some out. What was it? What kind of route was it? He was doing like a little, I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, it was so choppy and so bad. Like it, you could tell the guys
you don't even catch the ball very fluid.
Right.
Is it, are people actually just running away with this because it's just the boring time of the season? Or are people just doing it because they're really, like, horned about it?
They're bored. We haven't signed anybody since Hollywood Brown.
Dude,
the draft's in a month.
I was like, dude, we don't have our tackle situation under control. Our wide receiver room still looks a little choppy. Our defensive line looks like trash right now. And we're getting horned up over a rugby player that the Chiefs signed on a whim? Like, come on.
Well, that's the thing about
lost their minds.
I will say this. The Chiefs are in a good position with the salary cap that they have available. With the draft, the way this draft is going, with deep in receiver, they got some good, promising looking tackle prospects that could even fall to the end of the first round, which we've talked about. I think the Chiefs are in a really good spot. Like, they got a couple things they need to fill in, like offensive line, defensive line depth, but what happened?
Michael said you got horned up and froze time.
I did.
Steve was so horned up, he froze time, bro.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it when I get horned up.
Iko says this guy may come in and surprise some people. It's gonna surprise me if he even gets on the 53-man roster.
Yeah, he will surprise the hell out of me if he actually plays, but
no, I think it's a practice squad thing. It's just, I don't know. He's got raw talent. Not trying to take that away from him. I'm not even trying to take away football or like rugby talent. Like, rugby's a tough sport.
Look, it's the same.
Crazy.
It's the same difference as being like, hey, let's pull Usain Bolt onto a football field because he's fast, and let's make him a football player. And you think he's going to make a team? You know what I'm saying? Same difference.
But again, Steve, we're just being the adults in the room.
Obviously, rugby's closer to football.
And people don't want it. Tell him how good he's going to be and how he's the key to the next championship.
Yeah. So, what?
Do it.
No, I'm not doing
Lie to him.
I'm not doing it. I refuse to. See, like Chief Kelsey says, we're just talking about it because there's nothing else to talk about. But there is Chief Kelsey. Like, we can move on from Reese Sammet because I really do think that's a nothing burger, guys. It's cool,
I didn't even want to devote a second to that guy.
But we did. We did. And now we can move on. And we could talk about...
Let's talk about the real football players in the room.
Let's talk about the draft, man. That's what we're going to talk about. Ray asked when the draft is. It's the end of April. Do you know the exact date of it yet?
Is it 27th? It'll be a Thursday, last Thursday in April. Let me look on my calendar.
Google that up real quick.
It'll be on the 25th, April 25th. They'll do round 1. April 26th, they'll do round 2 and 3. And then round 4, 5, 6, 7 on Saturday the 27th.
Right, so
that's going to be a long stream.
We're a month outside of it. Well, let's just talk about the draft a little bit, Mike. So right now we've released our draft predictions for the Chiefs Volume 1.0. All of you guys have probably seen it by now. And apparently the whole world's seen it by now. But either way, we'll probably tweak it a little bit here and there. Like we'll revisit that once a week up until the draft. And then right before the draft, we'll give you guys our best predictions of what we think the Chiefs are going to do. Well, right now, like I said, that's what we got to go by. We'll probably be trying to tweak that a little bit, maybe tomorrow. and get a volume 2 out for you guys. But right now we had our number 1 pick as Kingsley Sua Mataea.
I love that name. A 6-syllable name. That's not hyphenated, by the way.
Right. He's just so important. You don't need a hyphen.
Brett Veach is horned up over that one.
Well, here's the thing about it, though. Kingsley, we looked at it, like you said earlier, a lot of people were on Patrick Paul. A lot of people were praying that the Chiefs could somehow get Alt, and that's not happening. We're not getting up that high in the draft. The guys that I can't ever say their names, Fuanga and
Talise Fuanga.
Yeah, so all those guys are going to be gone. They're going to be gone if the Chiefs sit. They're going to have to trade way up to get them. I don't see that happening. I don't think the Chiefs have enough draft capital to really make a move like that, because you don't want to lose future picks. I just don't see a point of that. Like I'm not about giving up round 1 from next year just to move up in this year's draft. That's wild.
Can we talk about the offensive tackles a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about them. Well, the ones I wanted to talk about was who could possibly fall to the Chiefs.
Right. So if you look at everybody's, like, I think Joe Alt is everyone's consensus number 1.
Right.
To me, he's a top 5 player in the draft, and I don't think he falls anywhere past, at this point, I don't think he gets past Tennessee. Out of everything they've done, I think Tennessee, they will be crazy to pass him. So he's definitely not getting into the double digits. Okay, to me, J.C. Latham and Troy Fatanu out of Washington, Latham is like 6'6", 342. He's a big boy, but he's ready to play right tackle right now, and he actually thinks he can play left. I think he could play left too. I mean, he may struggle a little bit. And then Troy Fatanu, everybody was like, was he just a guard? He's got to kick down in the guard, right? No. He's got 34.5-inch arms. He's 6'4", 317. Troy Fatanu could play anything up and down that line. He is a beautiful puzzle piece. I actually think he's the second best offensive tackle in the class. And that's above Latham and Fuaga and Oli Fashanu, every one of them. But if you start looking at who's probably gone, like Steve said, Alt, Fatanu, J.C. Latham's probably out. Talise Fuanga is out. Oli Fashanu's probably out.
The only ones I see falling into that range, like, okay, now if one of those guys you just mentioned were to fall to the early 20s, do you think the Chiefs make a move to move up and get them, just move up a few picks? I don't think you're going to trade up early into the draft to try to take Alt or anyone like that. But say Fuanga falls.
Right.
Or Fashanu. Like, if one of those fall, do you think they move up? If not, there's Tyler Guyton, there's Amarius Mims that fall into that range as well, where they might fall to the Chiefs at 32, but probably not. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think they move up a few picks to take any of those guys?
Right. Well, if you look at the way the board's fallen, the Chargers at 5 definitely need a tackle. Will they take one? If Malik Neighbors is on the board, they may not take the tackle. But 7, Tennessee Titans are on the board. They could use a tackle. The Jets, they signed and traded. You know, they signed for Tyron Smith. They traded for Morgan Moses, but they're older. So do you think maybe they go ahead and take the luxury pick, which could be, say, Brock Bowers, or do you think they take a tackle? Then the Las Vegas Raiders at 13 could use a tackle. The Saints could use a tackle. The Seahawks could use a guard and a tackle. So that's 5 or 6 teams right there before the top 16. So as you're saying, they would have to, the Chiefs would have to get a top 5 tackle. You've got to get yourself above Seattle at 16. More than likely.
Yeah, I would say so. But out of the guys that could fall to the Chiefs, realistically, the only ones I see on there that might fall, if you got lucky, you could maybe go with Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of Kingsley than I am either of those two guys, even though Mims is a pretty big guy. Like, Mims is pretty big, but he's got some injury concerns, right?
I've been reading a lot about Amarius Mims. I've actually been reading a lot about a few guys. Amarius Mims is a guy that is just, he's not tackle ready to play right now. He played less than 800 snaps, 900 snaps in college.
Well, that's why I like
Patrick
Kingsley.
Paul's played like triple those snaps, right?
Right. And I like Kingsley because he's played a lot on both sides. Like, he's done a lot of different things.
Right. So Amarius Mims is more of a project, but NFL teams are very high on the fact that he's 6'8", 340, and he carries it so well. So I'm actually hearing that he's pretty high rated on people's boards. They're saying he may even go before Oli Fashanu out of Penn State, or Talise Fuanga from Oregon State, or even J.C. Latham, or Amarius Mims. He's very intriguing. He's kind of like the offensive tackle version of the way that they're going after JJ McCarthy on the quarterback version. Like, I don't know what it is. So, to be honest, to me, Tyler Guyton, Kingsley Suamataia, Jordan Morgan, Roger Rosengarten, Patrick Paul. Those are the other guys that could slip into the back end of the first.
Right. Who are you taking out of those? Are you sticking with Kingsley? That's what I think.
Kingsley, I think, is a little bit ready to go more than all. I think Jordan Morgan's the most experienced athlete out of the group, like the more experienced guy. But I'm not a huge Jordan Morgan fan. So next, I would say Suamataia is probably the next best one ready. Tyler Guyton, though, at 6'8", 322, and with all his potential, to me, he's got the higher upside. So I'd probably take Tyler Guyton, and then I'd probably take Kingsley. Then I would probably go Jordan Morgan, and then I'd probably go Patrick Paul. But technically, I would probably take Paul over Morgan. In my opinion, I think Patrick Paul's better than Jordan Morgan too.
Right, same. Brad says Kingsley is a C+ on PFF Draft Sim. That means it's a good pick.
Yeah, don't listen to PFF.
Yeah, the PFF Draft Sim grades are trash. Kingsley would be a great pick for the Chiefs, and we actually had him taking him at 32. Him falling 32, the Chiefs taking him. Just a side note, if you're one of the people that are obsessed with the Chiefs taking a wide receiver in the first round of this draft, you're probably going to be crying on draft night, because I swear I think tackle is far more important than wide receiver right now.
But look, can I throw out a scenario though? What if you're sitting at 32? What if you're just sitting at 32? And let's just say every tackle is off the board. Even Suamataia, we'll say even he goes to the Ravens, and then we'll say that Patrick Paul goes to the 49ers right before us. So let's just say you've got Jordan Morgan sitting on the board, or let's say that AD Mitchell's not been taken yet. Are you taking AD Mitchell, or are you going to take Jordan Morgan?
Well, I don't.
So I don't
feel
think I could
strongly,
never say they would never take a wide receiver.
I don't feel strongly about the Chiefs taking AD Mitchell, even if he's available. And the reason why is because they could have took George Pickens 2 years ago and refused.
I'm going to tell you right now, if AD
And
Mitchell's
same
available
player.
at 32 and Jordan Morgan is there at 32, and you take Jordan Morgan over AD Mitchell, you messed up.
Yeah,
they're not even close on the draft boards.
Right, but I don't think they would. I don't know. Xavier Legette is very intriguing to me, Casey. But here's the problem with that. I really think that Legette could break the mold and be the guy that the Chiefs could take as a bigger guy that they normally wouldn't, because he is just an absolute freak athlete, and I really like him. But the problem with that, Casey, is I have this hunch that he's not going to make it to the Chiefs in the first round. I feel like the Bills losing
the
Gabe
Bills
Davis
and the Ravens are in play for Xavier Legette.
The Ravens also need a guy like that. I think he could go to one of those two teams. So I have this weird sinking feeling that if we want Legette, you might have to trade up to get him. That's not going to happen.
I'm going to be dead serious. What if the Arizona Cardinals trade out of number 4? What if say Minnesota decides that they're just completely horned up? Minnesota is not gearing up to not come up the board. They didn't go trade everything to get 2 first-round picks to not come up the board. They're not going to sit there. So they're coming up. And who are they talking to? The Cardinals and the Chargers and the Patriots. If the Patriots feel like they don't want to get out of that spot, you've got to pick before the Giants. Let's just say the Bears go Caleb Williams, the Commanders go Jaden Daniels, and New England sits and says that we'll take Drake May. J.J. McCarthy is the pick, and everybody knows that the Giants will take J.J. McCarthy. The Giants will also take Drake May if he's available. I think the Giants will take one of those 2 quarterbacks if they're on the board. So you've reasonably got to get in with the Chargers or the Cardinals. So say the Cardinals fall down and they take the 11th or whatever, they take the 11th pick. Just say they pass a wide receiver there. Well, they definitely need a wide receiver because you're not going to get a top 3 guy. So what at 27 if they need a wide receiver? And they say, hey, we'll take Xavier Legette at 27, man. That's a good pick.
There's lots of different ways that he could be off the board.
So many scenarios, man.
Yeah. Cole in the house. He says if they don't take a wide receiver 1 in the first round and use Lewis Rees-Sammet on wide receiver 2, he's done with his team completely. Cole, you better start packing it up, brother.
I don't think Cole's really being serious here.
I know he's not. That's the funny part. What's funny is a lot of people have that feeling though. Like they're like, oh, the Chiefs have to take a wide receiver. If they don't take a wide receiver in the first round here, I'm just done. I've seen that comment a lot on Twitter and stuff, and it's like, there's a good chance they're not going to. They just went and got Hollywood Brown. Rasheed Rice turned out to be a damn good receiver. Why do you have to go splooge on a first-round pick for a receiver? I mean, first of all, if they could get Kadarius Toney to catch the damn ball, that's a weapon. I mean, 2 years ago, no one was upset with having Kadarius. But nobody was having concerns with Kadarius Toney 2 years ago. Everybody loved him being on the field.
Hey, everybody's kind of mean to Toney in a way. Like, the dude had 4 drops in a season.
Yeah, it's
You would have thought the dude had 45.
There's other things going on.
Hey, I will say he only had about 20 attempts, though. He dropped 4
right, but either way, it's funny. But I like the joke, though, because
Louis
definitely
Reese,
I've seen people
Zimmett,
say that.
I mean,
he's
being overhyped. But in all honesty, like, I'd comp him to,
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, at least
he's the next Tyreek Hill, right? I actually made a meme. I was gonna post it. It was Tyreek Hill fading into Reese
to Louis.
Zammit.
And you said,
how do you even say his name? Is it Reese Zammit?
I want to make a meme of Hank Hill and say, Zammit boy. That's what I want.
Zammit,
I want Hank
Bobby.
Hill. He said, Zammit Bobby. Let's get him working out with Bobby Stroop, and then we'll say, Zammit Bobby. That's going to be the meme. If we ever get a picture of him working out with Bobby Stroop, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to write Zammit Bobby, and nobody's going to get it.
I noticed this today. I actually thought this to myself. I've noticed something with Chiefs fans, and it cracks me up a little bit. But they think you can pull, okay, this is their formula to fix everyone. First of all, you can get anybody to catch the ball for Patrick Mahomes because it doesn't matter. He's Patrick Mahomes, right? And the only thing that you have to do is when you get them in town, you get them to work with Bobby Stroop. And Bobby Stroop will get them fixed up.
Bob.
And then he's going to be, yeah.
Hey,
it's like,
Bob's awesome.
That's all the casual fans' perfect formula for fixing anyone.
Steve, I'm Price drops a 5-bomb. You know what he just wants in his life? All day, every day.
Suck it! Suck it! We got 2 words for you! Suck it!
Iron Price, suck it. There you go, baby. Thanks for the 5-bomb. Appreciate you. Oh, Pop's out here throwing out 5 gifted. Appreciate it.
Man.
Turn your gifting on out here. Turn that gifting on.
Old man.
Doing
the Lord's work.
Pops, was you horned up about signing a rugby player? Like, did you have that on your bingo card for March 27th?
Love it.
I don't know.
Well, let's move on. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to click that. Let's move on. So we talked about the tackles a little bit. Kind of that's a consensus right now until something changes. I'm on board with the Chiefs taking a tackle in the first round. I don't see them taking a wide receiver unless someone just falls into their lap. So it is what it is. But let's move on to the second round where they're more likely to pick a receiver if they draft one, because that's what they do. They always take a wide receiver in the second round. Brett Veach has proven that time and time again. So why wouldn't he do it again? We actually said that they would trade up just a few picks in the second round and take a wide receiver from Michigan, Roman Wilson. A lot of people didn't like that. We got a lot of backlash for that one. Like, they better not take Roman Wilson. He stinks. And it's like, wait a second.
Steve, look, it's hard.
What?
It's hard to talk draft sometimes because people, they get it in their head who they like, and if the Chiefs don't take,
they don't
the
like
guy
everybody
they
else.
Like,
right.
Everybody sucks.
Well, I mean, everybody's guilty of it. I do it from time to time. Like I really like it. I like George Pickens. I was like, dude, the Chiefs gotta take this guy, and they passed him right up to take.
And boy, were you wrong, because Sky Moore just absolutely destroys George Pickens.
I know.
Like,
I couldn't
look
have been
at what
more
Brett
wrong.
Veach did to you. He made you look stupid, didn't he?
I couldn't have been more wrong with that one.
You were just incredibly wrong with that one.
But honestly, like, Roman Wilson's a player that fits right into the Chiefs' wheelhouse, right into Andy Reid's wheelhouse. He's an excellent receiver. He runs good routes. He has good hands. He's 4.3 speed. And I mean, he's a proven winner. He won a national championship with JJ McCarthy and the Michigan Wolverines. Roman's a good receiver. He tore it up at the Senior Bowl. They couldn't stop him. I think we talked about how he's basically like Ladd McConkey 2.0. If you can't get Ladd McConkey, then you can go Roman Wilson. They're almost the same player. I think Ladd McConkey's just a tad bit ahead of him in route running, and the fact Ladd McConkey's just very smart and he paces himself better than Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson will kind of run that full speed a lot, whereas Ladd will pace himself and really outsmart DBs and set them up. Roman don't do that yet, but I mean, that's stuff that can be taught.
Yeah. Roman runs pretty good routes, though. He runs pretty good routes. To me, I think he is he may be top 5 route runners of this class for me when I watch him.
He's very overlooked. I think another guy that everyone's really overlooking.
He's got good hands, too.
I'm going to throw another name out there, Mike, and I'm not so sure that the Chiefs wouldn't have this guy on the back burner. No one's talking about him. He's a first-round talent. The only reason they don't have him in the first round is because they think there might be some character concerns. But Jermaine Burton from Alabama, that guy's a route runner. That guy can catch. Contested catches, no problem. Like, he's a beast. And he's actually first-round talent, but no one talks about him.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of baggage going.
It's fine, though. Like, have the Chiefs been afraid of baggage ever before?
No. I will tell you something about Jermaine Burton, 6 foot 196. He's only had 4 drops in his entire college career.
Yeah.
4 drops in 4 years.
And a lot of contested catches. So
and he had 0 in 2023. He is elite at the 40-yard dash. He is an elite category of 10-yard sprint. He is an elite vert. He is an elite contested catch rate at 56.3. He had a 0% drop rate, and his arms and hands are actually in the great metric. So he actually has 4 elite categories out of 6, and the other 2 are greats.
If the Chiefs decided, like, if Jermaine Burton was there when they would possibly take Roman Wilson, I think that, like, they could take Burton. Like, you really could. I mean, he's a little bit bigger than Wilson. He's a little bit different. So,
Steven, with a $25 donation, my boy.
What up, Steven? Let's go, baby.
That makes your night, you know?
Let's go.
It's a good night now. Steven throwing out $25 to ACU. Appreciate you, brother. He said, exciting times. It's okay, Steve. I'm wrong, too.
I guess he wanted Pickens, too.
Oh, yeah. You know, just
man,
incredibly, like, we were also short-sighted with that one, wasn't we?
It's funny, though, because I will say this. So we talked about that a lot back then before that draft. I was like, man, I loved Pickens. I really thought that he was going to, like, I kind of had the sinking feeling they wouldn't pick him, but I was like, maybe they will. I mean, there's a little bit of smoke there. They interviewed him. They did some things. They talked to him, I think, at one of the bowl games, I think. So there's like, maybe they will. But you kept telling me, Mike, they're not. They're going to take Sky Moore. That's who they're going to take. They would never take anyone like George Pickens. They're going to take Sky Moore. You told me over and over again.
We had Kylie Winfrey on the show.
Yeah. She said the same thing.
Strong-armed me into taking him in round 2.
That's because that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. It's not. I like after I knew that they weren't gonna. But
a lot of people confuse that with
let a boy dream sometimes. Mike.
We're the only channel that can guess the picks right, and everybody just ignores it, and then a few months later they'll throw it back in your face and be like, "You thought we were supposed to take Sky Moore? You don't know what you're talking about." That actually
happened, dude. Steven, first of all, appreciate the 25, my man. That's freaking awesome. You got some legendaries in the chat for Steven.
So
Bridges.
many legendaries for Steven.
But appreciate that. But onward. Yeah, we actually had a guy on Twitter that was trying to throw that in our face. He was literally like, "You guys don't have any idea what you're talking about. You actually said that the Chiefs were going to take George Karlaftis and Sky Moore in the draft." And I was like, "Well, they did." And he's like, "But you all said the Sky Moore was going to be in the first round." And it's like, wait, so you're knocking us for picking 2 players right that they picked? Like, just because we had them in the first round or the second round, like, we didn't know they were going to trade up and take Trent McDuffie. That wasn't. No one saw that one.
We just sit where they sit and pick.
Dude, let's be honest here. The Chiefs didn't even see that one coming.
Right.
They didn't see that one coming. No one knew McDuffie was going to fall that far. And when he did, it's like, hey, we got to go get this dude.
What's funny is I said if you traded up for any corner, it had to be McDuffie. I didn't put that in the mock. But the dude tried to make fun. He's like, you thought he was a first-round talent. I didn't think jack crap, bro.
We thought the Chiefs were going to pick him, and they did.
We thought the Chiefs were going to take him, and we thought that probably Sky Moore, by every single person in the draft universe, thought Sky Moore was going to sneak into the back end of the first round. We picked like dead freaking last, okay? I took him the dead last pick. Like, I got it right.
How dare you know who they're going to pick?
Dude,
either way, let's back to what we were talking about. I'm going to go a little Chris Berman on you. Back. Back to what we were talking about.
Love Chris Berman.
The receivers. Yeah, who doesn't? Boom. What's his name? What's his nickname? Does he have a nickname?
Was there Boomer?
That's what I thought.
Dude, I love wasn't that a good time? for
yeah,
Sports
the
Center.
90s. You had Craig
Stuart
Kilborn. Stuart
Dude, rest in
Scott.
peace, Stuart Scott. He was the man.
Stuart Scott.
Stuart
Who's
Scott.
that?
He was a North Carolina guy, man. So we
Um,
battled it out with UK and North Carolina, but
Rich
he was
Eisen
awesome.
back
Kenny
in the day,
Mayne.
man.
Kenny
Mainsky. Yeah, there were some good
It's a
ones.
good
man. That was
time,
a
man.
good times. But back to the receivers, man. In the second round, if the Chiefs don't trade up to take anybody, say they don't even trade up a few picks like we had them trading up to take Roman Wilson. If they sit at 64, do you think there'll be any receivers that intrigue you enough to take them right there? Like, because in my mind, I'm thinking like a lot of these guys are going to be gone off the board. It's a heavy wide receiver draft. There's a lot of talent. I think like if you set at 64, you'd be lucky to get somebody like Roman Wilson or Jermaine Burton. But I feel like you're probably looking more at Tez Walker or someone like that. And that's if somebody don't take a flyer on his athletic ability.
Look, Devontae Walker at 6'1.5", 193 is a freak athlete. He tests out of 6 metrics. He tests elite in 5 out of the 6. Excuse me, 5 out of the 6. He's elite. Somebody is going to take a flyer on him. But I will say that is about the range. The wide receiver class is flat out freaking loaded. Like,
yeah,
I can see right now. Honestly, let's just say A.D. Mitchell. I think A.D. Mitchell should still be a first-round pick. But let's just say Xavier Worthy falls out of the first round. And let's go ahead and say McConkey and Leggett all fall out of the first round. And all you get in the first round is Harrison Jr., Neighbors, Odunze, and Thomas and Mitchell. And that's just it. You know, everybody's like, it's so deep. We'll wait till the second. Right. I could literally see 14 receivers going in the second round because they're that good. Yeah. So I'm with you. Like, if you do not trade up and you wait till 64, you're not going to get you're not going to get Keon Coleman. You're not getting Ricky Pearsall. You're probably not getting Jalen Polk. You're probably not getting Malachi Corley.
I feel like if you're sitting at 64, you're taking what's left. You're not getting your guy.
Right.
Just exactly. Story. Just a couple of things real quick. We'll get back to the receivers. Iron Price says Sky is not used right, plain and simple. That's 100% correct. I know a lot of people think Sky Moore's a bust, and yeah, by all means, I guess he kind of has been. But he's a slot receiver. If they're not going to use him in the slot, they might as well let him go. Right. Stephen Bridges, he says he wants to hear the story of how the brothers in Kentucky became Chiefs fans. Is there a video of that? So just we'll make a long story short. There's this old fat bald guy that we call Pops that just was obsessed with the Chiefs, and we grew up that way.
Yeah, that's basically it. We were stuck right in the middle of 4 really horrible franchises. To the north, you had the Colts. To the west, you had the Rams. To the south, you had the Titans. And to the east, you had the Bengals. So we were in the diamond of hell, is what I like to call it.
Kentucky never getting an NFL team because everyone around them has it. Right?
The hell diamond. And so, Chiefs it was. Pops supported the Chiefs forever. He watched like the first Super Bowl. But yeah, from the time I could talk, it was, I think Dan Saliamua was my first word.
Iron Price with the 2 bomb says, what happens if we don't take a receiver at all? I'll tell you what's going to happen. Chiefs Kingdom's heads will collectively explode.
Rioting in the
streets. There might be a riot. We don't know yet. But no, in all honesty, I would be surprised if they don't take at least one in the late rounds. I could see them taking I could see the Chiefs not taking a receiver early and just skipping all these extremely talented people and taking Anthony Gold later. I could see that happening.
I think Anthony Gold, some guy you start looking at about round 4 to 5.
You want to talk about return ability and somebody you could use as that, but still use in a slot receiver position. That's Anthony Gold. They could be using him for kickoff returns. Mm-hmm. I mean, so if they want to go that route, but no, man, it definitely could happen.
Doesn't the running back now become a little more important with this rule? Because I believe a running back in this situation would be good, like a one cut and go kind of guy that can get through that initial few arm tackles. Well,
speaking of, in the 3rd round of our draft where we were trying to predict what the Chiefs are going to do, we actually had Jalen Wright from Tennessee falling to the 3rd round and the Chiefs grabbing him pick 95, Mike. I don't think he'll be there. But we talked about it and we thought, well, this draft, as heavy as they are in receivers and tackles and things like that, running back's not a premium position like it used to be. And maybe Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson are going to not go until, late 2nd round anyway. maybe even third round. So we had Jalen Wright falling to the Chiefs, and we took him. And a lot of people's like, they're not going to take a running back that high. Well, I think they would if that kind of value was available. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they're looking to take a running back in the first 3 rounds. But if Jalen Wright falls into your lap at pick 95, that's great value. And we have yet to sign back Clyde or McKinnon. Obviously, Isaiah Pacheco has had some shoulder concerns, this and that. So, I mean, they have to do something with the running back room as is. So, I mean, if there's value like that there in the 3rd round, that doesn't surprise me at all. Would Jalen Wright be a guy that can return kicks? Does he do any of that in Tennessee?
Yeah, he played a little special teams. I don't think he gets a bump. I think there's a few other guys that get bigger bumps. I think if you look at the running back room, guys that would now get bigger bumps, in my opinion, Isaac Garindo from U of L being 6 foot 221, runs a 4.3. I think that guy right there would be a pretty nice addition. Who wants to tackle that guy? You know, who could catch him, by the way? I think Tyrone Tracy Jr. now gets a little bit of a bump. I think Bucky Irving gets a little bit of a bump. I think Ray Davis from UK gets a little bit of a bump.
I think people sleeping on Ray a little bit, man.
Our top 10 rankings are getting ready to come out. And we're probably going to do a quarterback and a running back, even though the Chiefs aren't going to take quarterback. We're still going to release our top 10s at quarterback. I mean, that's just what we do.
We'll have our whole big board release for you guys.
Right,
soon.
We'll have our whole big board. But I think people's going to be very surprised at how our running back room looks, our top 10s, because I've done a lot of weird shifting and a lot of moving.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that there.
No, this
you've
is
done
a
some
wild
weird
room. Did
stuff.
you know that out of the top 6 running backs, 4 out of the top 6 have had a torn ACL in the past 3 years? That's another reason that I think this running back class scared the NFL so bad that we had the wildest running back, free agency market in the history of the NFL. Because I don't think anybody's sold on any of these guys, and they've all got an extensive injury history, which means 3rd round it could be. It really could. Hey, by the way, we got 207 watching here from YouTube, but we've got 75 people watching on X, and we appreciate you guys on X.
Baby.
And if you guys comment, I think we get to see it. It'll put a little X. We'll shout you guys out. Appreciate you guys being here.
Also, if you could repost it, that'd be fantastic. Let's get this out to more people.
Yeah, share it. Let's get people on here talking about the Chiefs, man. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Smash that sub button. We're coming up on 30K subs. I mean, that's freaking ridiculous. Flapjack back to trolling again with 2 bomb. Says Louis Reese Zamet, our number 1 receiver. Anus Smith will be our number 2, according to Flapjack. Yeah, man.
It's funny because Flapjack started all the Anus Smith stuff, and I actually saw someone on Twitter that was really pounding the table for Anais Smith.
Can you not use Anus Smith and pounding in the same? Let's just not.
They were pounding the table for Anais Smith. That's what I said. If you're a pervert and you turn that around in your head, that's not on me. That's on you, brother.
Don't be a pervert, my boy. Appreciate you, Flapjack. If Louis is our number 1 wide receiver, we're in trouble.
Son. We're done, son.
We're in trouble.
Ray says he likes Isaac Garindo. Yeah, I like Isaac Garindo too, but I think a lot of people are on Garindo after the combine. I feel like it's kind of like I'm starting to have that sinking feeling like maybe Isaac Garindo's just hype. Like I watched some of his tape and I do like him, but I don't know if he's.
Look, if you look at Isaac Garindo and you look at what he does and how he does it, there's not enough on film that constitutes me putting him in the top 10 running backs. So, spoiler alert, he's not in our top 10.
But
he just can't get there.
Being 225 pounds running a 4.3 40, that's impressive.
Right. But I will say, he is a guy you could maybe mold. Maybe he could find another gear, and he's got a lot of traits that you could take a flyer on. So, I do believe round 5, round 6, if somebody pulls the trigger on Garindo, I would not be surprised. I'm not going to fall out of my chair over it. Honestly, there's guys in the top 10 that just have their faults, man. I'm telling you, the running back class is just not exceptional. You can look down the list and find faults with Blake Corum. You can find faults with Marshawn Lloyd. You can find fault with Braylon Allen. You can find it with Bucky Irving. You can find it with Tyrone Tracy, Will Shipley. You name it. Every one of these guys have faults. Rasheen Ali. The Chiefs just brought him in, and he's injured every 5 minutes. This guy got injured just when I named his name right now. He felt it through the universe, stumped his toe.
That's great. It looks like we're hitting about 300 for all platforms together. If you guys don't care, hit the like button, share this with other people, all that good stuff. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If you're not following us on X, follow us on X. All that good stuff. We appreciate you guys for real. But yeah, Mike, so onward from third round. So we've talked about running backs. We've covered the wide receivers and the tackles. In the fourth round, I believe it was,
what's your dream scenario though? Like round one, are you under the impression that you want to go offensive line first, tackle?
I don't have really a dream scenario, but I think there's a few that would make sense.
Would you consider, if I'm going to name 4 positions and you name it 1 through 4 in your priority of how you would draft it? Offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, corner. What's your 1 through 4? Because 4 for me would be corner. I don't think taking a corner at 32 to me is just not something I feel like we have to do.
Yeah, no, not at all. Man, I don't know. I think obviously any kind of offensive line depth, they could even go defensive line early. They could go edge early.
Tackle or edge, I think they could do.
And then wide receiver is always in the conversation, but they don't have to. Somebody take Curry to the pit. Curry 30 to the pit. Let's get some to the pits in the chat, and then if one of the mods could take that guy out, that'd be great. He's a total clown.
To the pit.
To the pit. To the pit.
If he's got a Curry 30 jersey on, that's his name. You think he's got that hanging up next to his Yankees jerseys and Cowboys jerseys?
Yeah, he's a slapnut KC kid. That's what he is.
Like
I have no dream scenario, and I don't really know, Mike. I guess some of the things that would intrigue me there is I definitely think offensive line. It just depends. Like, what are you doing? If they sign somebody before the draft, if they were to go ahead and sign back Donovan Smith for a year, if they were to take a flyer on a Becton or someone like that, if they were to go after Bakhtiari, is he still available? Like if they were to do something like that, then all of a sudden your focus changes, right? You don't have to take one up early, but if nothing changes between now and then at tackle, I think you got to be eyeballing tackle. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't know if any of them. Does any of them though like move the needle though?
Not necessarily, but I do think there's some guy like Kingsley, like the guy that we picked. I think that he's not going to start over there right off the bat, but he's going to give some good competition to Wanye, and he's also got a high ceiling. He also can play up and down the line. He can do a lot of different things, so it's a good depth piece to have. I just think that wide receiver to me just seems like a luxury pick because right now I don't think that you have to have the wide receiver. The fact that they went out and got Marquise Brown and I know it's only for 1 year, I get that, but you also got Rashee Rice on the up and up. Like, I feel like you don't have to go out and just take a first round wide receiver. I think the idea that you have to do that is out the window.
I'm kind of curious how many first round grades the Chiefs will actually have. Somebody threw out a scenario. Do you think Marvin Harrison Jr. is everybody's consensus number 1? Like
not me.
Somebody threw out and was like, some NFL teams have Neighbors above Marvin Harrison Jr. That's crazy.
I like Neighbors better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
I think the Chiefs would probably be on that category, wouldn't they?
They would. They'd be on that list.
I honestly think the Chiefs would be on that list.
I do too. And I'm not taking anything away from Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a beast, but Malik Neighbors is. I like him better, I think. And I think the Chiefs would, because I feel like he fit more into the Andy Reid offense than.
I think what it is that Marvin Harrison Jr. has got that solid floor. You know you're getting like a Pro Bowl level wide receiver with him, probably. Yeah. Neighbors, you're getting like untapped potential that could be like Tyreek Hill game-changing potential. So it's like, do you want the upside? Do you want the floor? And I think that's where it falls. I'm not saying Marvin Harrison Jr. is not great, but.
Right. Jonathan says, what if DeJean falls, Mike? I think there's some from the past you've seen with the Chiefs, like with McDuffie, like even if they're not targeting a corner, if there's someone with that kind of ability that falls to them, maybe they go ahead and take it off pure value. I wouldn't be super surprised to see something like that, but I don't expect it. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. What do you think, Mike?
I think it all depends on what Cooper DeJean does. I think he's going to do a private workout mid-April.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got to see where he's at. But he can play. Look, he can play. I think he could be a nickel corner in this league. So he can do kind of like what McDuffie did his first year. I think he can be a safety. I think he's probably automatically, if he comes back completely healthy off the broken leg, I think he's probably the best safety in the draft. That's Tyler Nubin from Minnesota would be my number one safety right now. But if DeJean decided, hey, I'm going to play safety, like I'm not playing corner, I'm a safety, he would then be my number one safety. Nubin's just not the same level athlete. I don't think Cooper DeJean is.
Oh, Nubin.
But yeah, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't love it. I just don't think that the Chiefs need a corner. Like, I was reading something today, Lance from The Spoken. He had a very good tweet today that went out, and he was like, do you guys not remember when Snead knocked himself out of the game versus the Bengals in the first freaking drive? And yet we went in with two rookies and McDuffie. Maybe McDuffie was a rookie that year. I'm not even for sure.
He was. They were all rookies.
Every rookie there, and we held Joe Burrow and won that game.
You have to remember, McDuffie came out. He was the same draft, wasn't he?
Right.
As Josh Williams and Jalen Watson.
Josh Williams, Jalen Watson, McDuffie held it down. When Snead knocked himself out of the game, they held it down, won that game in the playoffs at the biggest moment. They are now going into the third year of their career. I think we're going to be fine there.
You're two-time Super Bowl champions, baby. They know what they're doing.
We've got to chill out a little bit. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if I was like Bucky Brooks, he just did a mock draft from NFL Network, and he put the Chiefs taking Kamari Lassiter at 32.
Don't see it.
Don't hate Kamari Lassiter, but at 32, we don't need that. That's ridiculous. Kamari Lassiter, by the way, at his pro day, run a 4.62.
He was real tired, okay?
Hey, you don't have to be super fast as a corner if you know how to play nickelback and you know how to redirect those wide receivers. I'll tell you that.
That's
so
true.
Lassiter's not a bad pick. I just don't think it's just not
necessary.
A need.
Well, going on to what we were going to talk about before we get sidetracked, took Jordan Jefferson in the 4th round, which is a defensive tackle from LSU by way of West Virginia. What do you think about Jordan Jefferson, Mike? I know that you said that Joe Cullen was actually down there at the pro day, was he not?
Yeah, Joe Cullen was running drills at the LSU pro day. He was seen on the sideline having a good old time with defensive tackle Mason Smith that we already said, that I said, by the way, he tore his ACL, but he was back this year. He was healthy, played the rest of the season. I thought Mason Smith has intangibles of a Chris Jones. He's built kind of like him, 6'5", 306, a 501 40-yard dash, 175, 10-yard split, a 31-inch vert. He's got the intangibles, long arms. I'm talking elite 35-inch arms for Mason Smith. I think he could get up into round 2. From everything I'm hearing, I think Mason Smith is starting to raise eyebrows, and that kind of athlete, he's going to maybe get into round 2 and at the latest mid-round 3. I had some guy tell me that if Mason Smith goes before round 6, he would buy me something. I don't remember what it was. He's like, I'll bet. And I was like, you're going to lose your money, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so anyways, Joe Cullen was hanging out with him. He was hanging out with Mekhi Wingo. He was hanging out with Jordan Jefferson. They like all of them. Jordan Jefferson, 6'3", 313. He is a bowling ball in the middle. He is kind of in the same mold and the same build as Christian Boyd. We just brought him in for a top 30. So he's right there with him. He is like the nose tackle, the big plug up the run kind of guy. He's the 2-down back. But Jordan Jefferson's got a little bit of juice to get after the quarterback on 3rd down even. But yeah, I do believe Mekhi Wingo, he's a little undersized, 6 foot 284. People's got him down the draft boards. And an interesting kind of tidbit, by the way, about Mekhi Wingo. And the reason that I've got Mekhi Wingo, spoiler alert, I've got Mekhi Wingo in my top 10 defensive tackles. And one of the reasons is because I heard a story, and who's the fella that just passed away from ESPN that did a lot of football analysis?
Mortensen.
Chris Mortensen. Chris Mortensen was big into the draft. Like, he loved it.
Is the chat locked up, or is it just me?
No, it wasn't moving. But yeah, Chris Mortensen. Chris Mortensen was big on Mekhi Wingo, and he kept texting. He kept texting everybody he knew before he passed, and he was like, "Where you guys got Mekhi Wingo on your board? You better move him up. You better move him up. He's going to be awesome." And in my opinion, if Chris Mortensen was smart enough to see something in Mekhi Wingo, then I needed to see something in Mekhi Wingo. So I've got him into my top 10. I think he's got a little bit of spark and a little bit of juice. I think he could surprise some people. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs took a flyer on an LSU guy. The Chiefs always like to pick linemen out of the SEC. They like to pick out of the SEC in general.
Right. Yep. So defensive tackle, do you think that's something they could take a flyer on early? Like, what if they were to be able to get some good value with a guy like Sweat or one of those early on? Do you think the Chiefs look at one early?
Right. If a Byron Murphy or a Jerzon Newton fell to me,
it
would be hard pass.
I love Johnny Newton. I ain't gonna lie. But I don't think the Chiefs would take him just because he's a lot like Kalijah Kancey. He's a lot like like an Aaron Donald, like a smaller guy. He's just
Did
undersized.
you know Byron Murphy weighed in though at 6'1.5", 297. Jerzon Newton actually, he weighed in at 297. He was 6'5", 297.
Okay, I got you.
Jerzon Newton actually come in at 6'2", which is an inch and a half taller, 304, really? 5 pounds heavier. No, 7 pounds heavier. So Jerzon Newton is actually heavier than Byron Murphy. So that made me look differently. Guys. That made me look differently, though, because I thought Byron Murphy had enough wiggle and enough bend and everything that I think Byron Murphy is going to be a good pick. But that really increased what I thought about Jerry Newton. And I honestly think he'd be a heck of a pick.
He goes by Johnny for some reason.
Johnny Newton. Yeah, I said Jerry Newton.
Yeah.
Johnny. Zani.
Dude,
Johnny.
I loved his tape. Like he's just
a game wrecker, dude.
Yeah, he is. He's always in the backfield. And dude, if him beside Chris Jones, which we said that last year, we had Kalijah Kancey on the show last year before the draft. A lot of you guys were probably around for that one, but he actually was talking about how him and Chris Jones could wreak hell on everybody, wreak havoc. I think that's the same thing with Johnny Newton. I feel like if he's in there with Chris Jones, you got a lot of trouble up the middle as far as QB pressure goes.
Dude, we were big Kalijah Kancey guys last year.
And he was a good player for the Bucks, man.
Yeah, and honestly, Newton is heavier, and I think Newton could disrupt just as much or more. So I honestly like Johnny Newton. I think he's going to be a nice pick. Technically, I'd be surprised if he falls out of the top 25. I really do. I think Johnny Newton's probably a top 25 pick. And if he falls anywhere, if he gets to us on draft night and the Chiefs took Johnny Newton, I would be thrilled. You would see that I would buy a Johnny Newton jersey in about 2 minutes. Dude, I would be completely pumped. If you guys haven't watched any film of Jerzon Newton, Illinois, please just go watch a little bit. Just go turn on any game.
I like him a lot.
And just watch for about 5 seconds, and you're going to see a guy on every freaking play. He's amazing.
Yep. Well, onward. Past the defensive tackles, we've already covered a lot of things, Mike. But then we went on to take tight end Eric All in the 5th round, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So here's my thing with Eric All, and here's my thing with tight ends in general. I don't know if the Chiefs will even take a tight end in this draft.
It's a very weak tight end class.
It's a weak tight end class. I think if they really wanted to take a wide receiver, a tight end, like they could consider like Jatavion Sanders in the 2nd round or something like that. Possibly, he's a lot like Isaiah Likely from the Baltimore Ravens.
If they're going to take a tight end, they should look towards like maybe Blake Lively. She was in the booth a few times last year.
Mike, are you being a pervert again?
Pervert.
We got to work on this.
I don't know.
We're going to have to get you into some therapy or something.
I don't need therapy. You know what I need? I need the chat to not be frozen because everybody's saying the chat's frozen. If the chat's frozen on your end, we're sorry.
It's frozen on my end completely.
Just start spamming the crap out of it. YouTube is messed up right now, by the way. Because before we went live, they had a bunch of glitches. We didn't even know if they was going to let us go live. So something's going on with them right now. I don't know if they're updating or something, but something's glitching out on their end. So if you guys are writing stuff, we're not seeing it.
Yeah. So yeah, some of them's coming through. Tight ends. I don't think they're going to take one, but I like if they do, which the reason why we took them in our predictions is because just the way things fell. So that's the only way you can kind of predict what the Chiefs are going to do is if you kind of try to predict what everybody else is going to do, who's available. But if they do, I think it would be a later guy. If they could get Eric All in the fifth round, something like that, I think that's when they might look at one. I don't think they're going to take one early. I think if they were going to take one early, they had plenty of opportunity the last 2 years. I've said this a million times, but they passed up Trey McBride. They passed up Greg Dulcich. They passed up Sam Laporta. They passed up Michael Mayer. They passed up, you name it. They've passed them up the last 2 years. So why would they suddenly feel the need this year to reach on a tight end that in a weak tight end draft? Brock Bowers is not getting anywhere close to the Chiefs. He's the latest I see him going is probably 10 to the Jets.
If the Jets don't take him though, if the Jets do not take him, which is kind of odd,
he's not going to fall to 32.
No, I don't think he does either. But I don't think he gets past the Colts at 15. I think that's the absolute floor. Colts at 15 or Seattle at 16.
Justin,
no,
appreciate
I'll say the absolute
brother.
floor. I'll say absolute floor Cincinnati at 18.
Yeah, exactly. Justin, appreciate the too. Yeah, so y'all put some ketchups in the chat for old Justin. We appreciate you, brother. Yeah, so Eric All though. Here's my thing with Eric All. I feel like he's got a lot of great, like he's got a lot of good tape. But he also has an extensive injury history. Like Jody Fortson kind of put a taste in everybody's mouth that not so great taste of really athletic tight ends that just can't stay on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people thought that a lot of good things were going to come from Jody Fortson, and I think we saw like one good catch, because he never could be on the field. I feel like that you get into that. You're kind of in that zone with Eric All because this guy, by all means, the last 2 seasons he's played has ended with season-ending injuries.
Yeah, he's had a back injury. He had to have surgery. He tore his ACL last year at Iowa. Here's what I'll say about Eric All: heck of a blocker. He can block his butt off, but there are reps where he gets laid out because he's not the biggest guy in the world. What is Eric All? 6'4", 252. Not the biggest guy you've ever seen, but at 252, not bad. He's built. Yeah, he's a willing blocker and he's a good blocker. Does he win every rep? No. Is he he's like a tight end 3 potential with maybe tight end 2 potential if he could stay healthy. Where do you draft that?
Late.
You just signed Irv Smith. Where do you draft a guy that maybe is fighting with Irv Smith? Like round 7?
You might not even draft it. That's my point.
You DFA. Yeah, I don't know if there's a reason to take one.
Yeah, so that, definitely when we go back
you may take one if Ben Sinnott were to somehow come out and say that he refused to play for anybody but the Chiefs, that he'll hold out, and then you get him at 64. That may be the only way we get a tight end in this draft.
Right. Well, yeah. Like when we revisit our first predictions, that's definitely one that we're going to eyeball. Right? Like that's definitely one that you could be like, I just don't know if they're going to take a tight end. But either way, tight ends, they're pretty weak in this draft. Mike, there is one guy you like that we haven't talked about today, and that is his name just slipped my mind. The Jugs guy. Holker?
Dallin Holker, Colorado State.
The Jugs guy, like he has big jugs.
He's got massive jugs. Dude, Dallin Holker he's got like this attitude where he just wants to win. Like he wants to win so much. Like I told the story to Lance, I've told the story to you. His wife is a very good athlete. He's married to a girl that was on Colorado State's track team, I believe, and she was really good. But she and him decided that he needed to work on his hands. So in the middle of the night, they broke into Colorado State's practice facility and got hit with a charge of breaking and entering and trespassing. Because all he wanted to do was break in and work on the jug machine in the middle of the night. And his wife was an accomplice to help this. So props to her. He's got a good support system. But dude, you cannot teach wanting to win like that. Like that's an intangible that you love.
And you see a guy on our team that has that right now, and it's made his play next level more than what people thought it could be with George Karlaftis.
Yes.
He had that same mentality, just wants to win, wants to get better. And, you know, that went a long way. I think George is, you can argue that he's the second best edge rusher out of that draft, and we got him at pick 30.
Yeah, I had George rated. I think he was my second or third edge rusher. We got him that late. Like, I had him over Jermaine Johnson, who turned out to be kind of a flop.
That was like what? I can't think of his name. They took over Aiden Hutchinson.
Walker? Yeah, that was
no, not
Travon Walker.
Travon Walker.
Aiden Hutchinson. I called him Asian Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson and
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, it was that whole
think
class.
George has had equal or more success than those guys.
I think I had George at 3. I didn't have Tavon Walker at 1. I think I had Hutchinson, and then I had Kayvon Thibodeau at 2, and I had George at 3, and I had Walker at 4. But I knew Walker would be the number 1 pick. And did you know the reason? I read a very cool, interesting story about that, by the way. Did you know he was only taken number 1 because he didn't have a lot of production on the field as a pass rusher, right? He only got taken number 1 because Jacksonville got their hands on some Georgia practice tape that was not privy to everyone else. And they watched a bunch of practice film and thought that he showed enough intangibles rushing the passer with his hands in the dirt on a practice. So not any game film or anything else. They watched practice film from Georgia, and that's why they took him number 1. Do you see how crazy it is when teams do crap like that, and then we're out here trying to pick what they're going to do?
Yeah, dude, it's rough.
It's insane. It's like hitting the lottery. And we've hit it a few times. It's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And see, and the last pick that we had in the first predictions was Anthony Gold, wide receiver from Oregon State, the Beavs.
The Beavs. Hey, J-Mac says, do you guys have a diva meter on any of the top wide receivers? We need smart guys. Steve, do you think there's anybody in the top wide receiver, like in first round wide receivers, maybe or second round, that has like a me attitude, maybe like a diva attitude?
Marvin Harrison.
He's showed the most of it, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, with good reason, he is a beast. But yeah, I get that vibe from him.
Honestly, I feel like it's a pretty solid class. I feel like a lot of them just kind of.
There's a lot of good kids, man. There's a lot of good kids. Like if you go character wise, I'm huge on Leggett. I'm huge on Ladd McConkey. Like there's some really high character kids out there that are athletes, man.
I love Ricky Pearsall too.
Ricky Pearsall,
like, yeah, right there with that character stuff.
Yeah, I tell you, out of all the wide receivers, the only one I really get the diva thing from is Marvin Harrison, and that might be unwarranted. That just could be.
I think that's just personal. How he's been handling himself at like the combine and stuff. Like when he turned down the speaking engagement and
right. Tucker says he gets the biggest diva is Jermaine Burton. I don't think Jermaine Burton's really a diva. I think he does have a bit of a. I think Jermaine Burton's kind of got that George Pickens kind of vibe.
He was
where
it has been said though, Steve, he's got character issues, and we couldn't find anything.
That's what I was getting ready to get to. He's got that George Pickens kind of vibe, not in play style, but in attitude. Like he's got a little bit of a temper.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on him. Could you?
He wants to win. He wants to get his way, or he's probably not going to be happy. So there's definitely that. But yeah, as far as receivers go, the one that really sticks out to me, like big red flag that I would avoid like the plague, and it has nothing to do with his with character, is Troy Franklin. Like to me, I just feel like his play style, he's MVS. So I would avoid him like the plague. Right. Otherwise, I don't really just hate on any of them. Like, and that's not.
Wait a second. You're gonna remember this one now. I figured out the Jermaine Burton thing.
What we got?
Jermaine Burton. Okay, it's pretty crazy too how many transfers there were. Jermaine Burton started his career, because I knew this, at Georgia, and then he transferred to Alabama.
Right.
So that was also A.D. Mitchell. A.D. Mitchell played at Georgia and transferred to Texas.
Right.
So yeah, he went to Alabama, but this is the incident. In January of 2022, Burton announced he was transferring to University of Alabama to play for the Crimson Tide. At the conclusion of the 2022 game against Tennessee, Burton struck a female Tennessee fan in the head after the game when they rushed the field. He was involved in that.
Accused of hitting the woman in the head. Tucker
I think
says
they've got film though, right?
right. Perry says
I don't know if they do.
I don't know. Perry says, as a Bama fan, Burton loves to run his mouth. He is someone that can get you a 15 yards easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense because look,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go watch every Alabama game in the world. I'm not a Bama fan.
Here's the thing.
I wouldn't notice that he talks trash after the play.
I don't hate players like that. If it's a player that Andy Reid can bottle that up a little bit, because that all comes from some sort of a passion, right?
A competitive spirit.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know about punching the lady in the head.
No, that's weird. I don't know about that one. I have to look further into that. I do remember that, but I forgot that was Jermaine Burton.
Me too. That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, I don't know.
That's wild.
Something to think about. But yeah, we said Anthony Gold in the 7th round if he were to fall to the 7th round, which he could. Off sheer size, he's tiny. He's 5'8". But he is a freak athlete, man.
I don't know if he'll get to the 7th round, to be honest. I'm thinking somewhere around 5 to 6, possibly.
Right. So it's also something we'll have to look at, too, when we reevaluate these picks. So that's pretty much where we're at with it, though.
Perry says watch his A&M highlights. Burton, I'm assuming, and you'll see his upside. No, I think Burton does have a pretty good – this is the thing that got me about Burton. Going into the season, I thought Burton was going to be a top 5 wide receiver. And about 5 games into the season, I was like, what's Jermaine Burton doing? I'm not hearing about him being, taking games over and go. So it's like he didn't reach out and grab it when I thought he could have. So I feel like maybe if you don't have that killer attitude right there, I'll
say this. I think there was some underutilization of Jermaine Burton at Alabama. I do get that vibe.
Wasn't their offense a little stagnant from what it usually was?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It wasn't it was kind of stagnant compared to what an Alabama offense normally looks like. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, their quarterback wasn't the greatest, let's be honest.
Right. So yeah, you were talking about our 7th round pick, Anthony Gold, 5'8", 174. He's an elite. Like, again, I punched in all of his numbers. He shows out of 6 categories, he is elite in 3. That's his 40-yard time at a 4.39. He's elite at a 1.49 10-yard split, and he's elite at a 39.5 vert. His 10-yard split of a 1.49 is faster than Tyreek Hill timed at West Alabama coming out in the draft. Think about that. He's got a faster 10-yard split. He could have that's burst. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's burst.
Right.
And then when you compare that with his, what was it again? He had, my bad. He had the, 39.5. So Tyreek Hill had a 40.5. So he has a 1 inch, this little measly 1 inch separates his vert, but he's got a faster 10-yard sprint or 10-yard split. So I think it's pretty crazy, man. His vert's higher than Justin Jefferson's. It's higher than Stephon Diggs by a lot, by 4.5 inches. He outjumped.
Well, he better have a good vert. If you're standing at 5'8", you better get up there somehow.
Yeah, dude. When I watch him on film, honestly, I watched a couple guys before him, and Anthony Gold was one of the first ones I actually dug into, and they were a bunch of people that we kind of thought the Chiefs would look at, right? But nobody really give me Chief vibes. Because, like, when we were watching free agency, what did we do? We seen Curtis Samuel, and we said, ooh, that's got some Chief vibes, too. You could watch him for about 5 minutes, and you said, oh, Andy could have fun with him.
5 minutes, 5 plays.
Right. Yeah. Anthony Gold was the first guy I looked at that I was like, ooh, Chiefs vibes. Like, he's got him. He's got him.
Sure. Hey, we got Sam Lofton in the house with the 5 bomb. What's up, Samuel? He says, hey, guys, off topic, but wouldn't the Chiefs have gotten a 3rd-round compensatory pick for Snead anyway if they would have let him go in free agency? I believe that is how that worked. So basically what they were able to get out of him was the pick swap, and they didn't have to pay him. I think what happened, though, is they got in a position. Well, at first you had to think the Chiefs tagged him because there's a lot of hype around Snead and everything. Everybody's talking about him after the performance he was able to pull off last season and in the playoffs. So it was like, I think the Chiefs thought that maybe there'd be more of a market for him, and there just wasn't. So they had to take what they could get, basically. Like, I honestly, there's just no market for him. People were mad about the compensation, but I think they were at the position. They never planned on paying Snead. They weren't going to keep him. And another thing is it does help because compensatory picks aren't guaranteed. This third round pick that we just got is. So I still think we're better off than we were by just letting them walk 100%. But appreciate the 5, Sam.
Yeah, I'm not for sure. Like, I'm not an expert in compensatory picks, but I'm not so sure you would have got that out of him. You could have lost him, if we sign somebody or something. Like, it ebbs and flows. Like, it's not a guarantee, I don't think.
And if I'm not, the compensatory picks would have been a later pick in the third round too, correct?
Yeah, it would have probably been somewhere like after 90, what is it, 96 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It'd be pretty late. Gary Holland says, Mike, see if I accidentally blocked Ray.
I'm trying. That's what I'm doing. That's why I've been so quiet. I'm trying to get him
on
back.
Here. I think he's back, right? No. Yeah, he is. Here's Ray.
Yeah, I don't see him on my list.
Hey, Gary's all quiet, and he's just doing his job and doing a damn good job of it sometimes. But sometimes he's like, you know what? Ray to the pit, baby. To the pit.
Ray to the pit.
Just out of nowhere.
I don't know.
It's like the RKO.
Maybe you didn't block him. Maybe you just accidentally put him in timeout for a few minutes or something.
That's awesome. No, it's all straight though.
Yeah, it wasn't on my list, so I don't know if he was actually.
And while we're talking about the mods, appreciate you guys. You guys do a really good job. We don't mention it enough, but we appreciate you guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. You guys do good work. Yeah, because we'll just pop on here any time of the day, and it's not like we just, run it by everybody.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like, everybody's always ready to go, man. Gary, Ray, all you guys. You guys are awesome.
That's level commitment. You know what we should do, Steve? At starting this year, we should send a nice Christmas gift to our moderators.
A moderator, yeah, let's
a little ACU moderator.
You're at least gonna get a Christmas card with our ugly mugs on it or something.
Oh yeah, we'll get you a Christmas card that says "horned up" that you're a moderator.
That's gonna be it. It's gonna be it.
Hey,
Lega
car to the pit. No, I'm joking.
That's great. I love the to the pit emoji, by the way.
Covington says hot take. Veach knows what he's doing. I don't know. Pit for Covington. No, Veach is a good GM. It's funny how people still they'll accredit Howie Roseman of the Eagles, or there's a bunch of different ones they'll put above Veach. It's so weird.
It's wild. Why would you do that?
And also, people think that we hate Veach just because, we'll be like, Veach probably should have helped the wide receiver room, or Veach missed and then people's like, you guys hate Veach, and it's like, not really. I mean, but not everybody's perfect.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Of course, we're going to talk about what Brett Veach does. He's the general manager of the football team that we cover. So, I mean, if he makes a move, we're going to analyze it one way or the other, and we're going to have opinions about it. So
I'm going to analyze it, and I'm going to assume that I'm correct. No, I'm joking. Also, when you question things too, I don't think it necessarily means that you just think you're better, right? I don't think that.
No, we just got to discuss it. You got
to discuss a little bit. Oh, you're real. Here we go. We got some more draft talk. He says, I take Jordan Morgan regardless. The Chiefs need ACU. A lot of people like Jordan Morgan, and I just cannot get on board with Jordan Morgan being a first-round pick. I can't do it. Do I need to go watch more film? You're real. Give me a game in which I need to go watch so I can see what Jordan Morgan can do. Because every game I've analyzed, I watched him play against Washington, and Braylon Trice, who's not even a top 10 defensive end on my board, ate his lunch over and over again.
Yeah.
I just could not, in full faith, think that Jordan Morgan is a better offensive tackle with his size and everything. I think Patrick Paul's better.
I think Patrick Paul and Kingsley are both better.
Yeah, but I want to be wrong. I'm not going to be so stubborn that I'm I will never think Jordan Morgan's good. I really want to know what do I need to go watch? Because I'll watch it. I'll watch 5 games. If you recommend 5 games to me, I'll watch them.
Yep. Covington says Tyler Guyton, Jordan Morgan, or Patrick Paul. If you had to pick out of those 3, I think Tyler Guyton is probably the most talented, but he's a right tackle. I think he can go left.
He can go left. I think he goes left.
So I think
pure upside, Guyton's probably number 1.
I think Guyton, Paul, Morgan. 1, 2,
that's
3.
how I would rank them right now, for real. Yeah. And again, I could be wrong. A lot of people are saying, Samuel says Morgan looks better than Patrick Paul. I need to see some film. I can't find it.
Hey, Patrick Paul would be a little PP on the PP though.
Oh, Patrick Paul?
He's double P.
Oh, there's so much PP. Dude, if we draft Patrick Paul, guys, a little PP.
Hey, the shirt's in the store. Speaking of that, merch.allchiefedup.com. Go get you some merchandise. There's some beautiful stuff over there. Little PP on the PP shirt. You got all kinds of good stuff. Get over there and buy you something. Probably have a draft sale coming up.
We'll do something.
Be on the lookout for that.
Hey, we'll come up with a nice shirt too. Whoever we take in round one, we'll figure something out. We'll rep them. Joe brings up a good point, guys. We're not in KC. This whole thing going around about voting on this tax. Look, I know people they don't want to pay taxes and taxes. I get it. Somebody added this up and it's like literally the equivalent of paying like less than $14 a year or something like that.
I would pay that.
We need to vote yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you like, you just need to. We don't need to take these owners can up and move these teams. You've seen it with Vegas. You've seen it with the Rams. Dude, it's crazy. Like it sounds weird, but it's like, look, I would rather my tax money be going to the Chiefs than the other crap they're using it for. And by the way, when has an inner city, by the way, not even an inner city, but when has a city ever turned down a tax? They will tax you on it. They love taxes in those cities, and they'll vote to put them all in. But yet when the Chiefs need something, everybody's like against it all of a sudden now. Dude, they'll tax you for breathing, and everybody's all for it. They'll tax you if you don't get a smart car. They're all for it.
Mike,
but they won't tax you for
you
the
stop
Chiefs.
talking about them taxes, baby. We got a 5-bomb from Adam S. He paid the ACU tax with a 5-bomb.
He did.
He says missed the notification.
Adam's allowed to stay. Adam to not the pit because he paid the tax. You got to pay the toll troll.
He paid a tax for missing his notification. I appreciate the 5, Adam. Better late than never, baby. That's the motto around here. Got a 5-bomb from Beach, baby. He said, I'm rich.
Beach. Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney with more yards this year?
It's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't know.
It's a very good question. Here's the thing, man. I seriously think I put a lot of thought into this, right? Like I have really thought about that because it's so weird. I think what they need to do, and then again, I'm not the coach. I'm not smart as Andy Reid. I'm not whatever. I get it. But how about you peel back most of Sky Moore's snaps, right? But use them when you do use them. Put them in the slot. Don't move them all over the field. When you use them, let him be a slot receiver. If he's not being a slot receiver, get him off the field. Kadarius Toney, I think Kadarius Toney has to get out of his head. I think Kadarius Toney had the yips last year. I think if they could get him out of that, Kadarius Toney's never had a drop problem his entire career, like even in college.
Right.
I think they got to get that. Like he's got to get that out of his head, much like Chiefs Kingdom. Chiefs Kingdom, it's in their head. They think Kadarius Toney drops. He does too. He had the yips, man. If they can get Kadarius Toney back on track and focused, I think Kadarius Toney still has a massive upside.
I don't know. Honestly, it's weird because I think Sky Moore's never been used properly, and I think Kadarius. And I had Kadarius has got the yips. This
is a double-edged sword here. I'm not worried about the yips for Kadarius Toney. I do think he'll turn that around. But he's very, very injury prone.
Yeah, that's another
so
thing.
It's like who's going to be?
Do you think Sky Moore, Steve? What's the chance of Sky Moore makes the team? What's the chance of Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney make the team?
98%
for both.
Yeah. Why would you get rid of either of them?
Okay,
they both have a massive upside and they're on rookie contracts.
So what do you think's more likely if they both make the team? We're just going to assume they both make it. Does Sky Moore finally figure it out in year 3, or does Kadarius Toney finally?
It's not about Sky Moore figuring it out. It's about Andy not being stubborn and being like, "This guy's a slot receiver. I got to quit putting him everywhere but the slot." Like if the Chiefs figure it out,
so that leads you to believe that I feel like Toney, because Andy's not going to change.
I would lean towards Kadarius Toney, but he does stay injured a lot. It just depends on who plays more, honestly, Beach. And I know that's not answering your question, but if I had to guess, I'm going to go Kadarius Toney. Let's go that. I don't know.
That's a tough question, Beach. I'm
John
just happy
P.
you gave me $5 and made me happy.
Hey, appreciate the 5-bomb, though.
Appreciate that, brother.
John P., says, love y'all and thanks for the entertainment. I'm watching on a delay. About the rugby, bro. Didn't Antonio Gates just come in? Not after playing college football and then go to the pros or the Pro Bowl? Antonio Gates, I don't remember if he played football or not. I know he's a basketball player. We're not saying it's not possible.
Look, you have Jordan Mailata come out of a rugby thing. The tackle for the Eagles.
Right,
it's not impossible, but look at the small amount you can name compared to the actual football players playing in the league. So again, it's kind of the equivalent of hitting like a lottery ticket.
Yeah, he's got a skill set that's great, right? But it's just how well it translates. How fast can he pick up? Like, I watched the tape of him running routes, and it was atrocious. But the guy's got great like speed and different traits, you know. So I mean, I don't know. That's a wait and see kind of thing. I just don't see it happening, to be quite honest. A lot of people saying they'd like to see Nico back. I think there's a shot that Nico makes a little comeback here. He was looking good before he got hurt in camp.
I'm a huge Nico guy.
Yeah.
Remember, I was talking to Nico last year, and I thought he could have made the team. I told you he was my dark horse. I don't know. I don't know if he gets on though. It's playing this receiver game is tough because is Andy going to just take 5? That's what he usually used to take. Now he's automatically taking 7. Everybody just think he takes 7 every year now.
I don't think they take 7 this year, brother. I think they go 6. I think the only reason they would go 7 is if they get into the same thing where they got too many receivers.
6.
We can't.
Okay,
look,
you think they're taking 6?
You got Hollywood Brown, you got Rashee Rice. I think you're looking at Justin Watson. You're looking at Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. I think you got room for one more. Who's coming in?
Is it Justin Ross? Is it Nico Remigio? Is it a draft pick?
I think it's going to be a draft pick.
So Justin Ross is out.
I think Justin Ross and Nico could both go to the practice squad. But could Nico beat out a rookie? Absolutely. Could Justin Ross? I don't know. Are we ever going to see what Justin Ross can do? As much as everybody wants to talk about Sky Moore not doing what people expected him to do, everybody expected Justin Ross. I get it. He's a UDFA. He wasn't a second-round draft pick. But a lot of people hyped him up to be the second coming of DeAndre Hopkins.
Though,
and
if it wouldn't have been for his medicals, he should have been a second-round draft pick.
Right. So, I mean, we actually had the Chiefs taking him in the second round in a mock draft.
He was a projected second or third draft pick until his medicals didn't clear. So he technically is a second to third round draft pick. He had the talent. He would have been there.
And he hasn't done squat either. And why, Mike? Why? The same reason Sky Moore hasn't.
Because Andy hasn't used him properly in a way.
Yeah.
At least enough.
And I'm not knocking Andy Reid. Obviously, Andy's got his own system and the way he wants to do things. And sometimes the players got to fall into that. So, I mean, it's on them just as much as it is Andy. But they're just not diverse. They don't.
You know what's funny is I've told you time and time again, Justin Ross is not a pure outside wide receiver. Justin Ross needs to be playing the slot because he's not elite enough and fast enough to beat those big corners on the edge. Justin Ross can beat linebackers and safeties from the slot and nickel corners. I don't think he beats many, CB1s and 2s out there. So that's again your problem. We have too many slot receivers on this team. Everybody's a slot receiver.
Yeah, for sure.
Straight up.
Flapjack City with the 2 bomb. He says, I'll pay the ACU tax, but I will not pay that tax, Mike. I'm voting no. I'm sorry. Hunt's worth $15 billion. He can do it him damn self. What do you say to that?
I hope you enjoy driving to Kansas City, Kansas to watch the football game.
I mean, in all seriousness,
this isn't a new tax, though, is it? It's just the same tax.
I don't even know. I don't live there.
Honestly, I don't even really care. I'm not living there. I just don't want the Chiefs to be. Look, if these guys have earned stuff, and there's probably some kind of weird semantics about it too, right? Like
I'm sure
the owner and the government and all this stuff, and there's a bunch of back table deals and all kinds of crap.
Look, I'll tell you what.
Nobody knows the truth.
From the potholes and stuff that I've seen in downtown Kansas City, they're not using your money the way they should be right now. So maybe you should go ahead and just give it.
Dude, the potholes I drive on every night. Listen to this one. This made the news yesterday in Louisville. There was a pothole in Louisville that they just come across the screen and said that they closed a road midday or mid-morning. 17 cars got a flat tire hitting the same pothole in a row. 17 cars went down instantly. What are they doing out here?
What are they doing?
What are they doing? They're having lunch at Ruth Chris every day, and we can't fix the pothole.
Honestly, though, like, and it's funny because a lot of people are going to take this the wrong way, but since we don't live in Kansas City, I don't care if the Chiefs play in Missouri or Kansas. I don't care. I don't have a dog in the fight. I would like to see the Chiefs remain where they're at Arrowhead and get a good renovation done and stuff like that. I like that idea just because of the history of Arrowhead.
I do like the idea of the downtown stadium though with the Royals. It looked kind of cool.
Well, here's the thing. I love Kaufman, but I do like that idea. The thing about it is like I love the history of Arrowhead, and it's amazing. But at the same time, like at some point, you do have to move on. Like these players and this organization has earned like better facilities, better things. So like eventually, like they are going to have to move off of it at some point. So I mean, it is what it is, man. It's just whatever gets worked out. Gets worked out.
Why'd I have to read this? I just told Steve there's an unlocked fear of a sinkhole the other day, and now everybody's talking about freaking sinkholes. Dude, we had a sinkhole at the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and it swallowed like 19 Corvettes.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. Crazy.
Dude, new
sinkholes
fear unlocked.
That's hilarious. Let's see what we got here. Godly Warrior says, off topic, but have you seen the podcast with LeBron James and JJ Redick? Very little of it, but I do know it exists. And he says, do y'all love other sports? So we do like other sports, but not like football. I like to watch the Royals. I watched some of the opening day game today, and of course they lost. Royals they really got to get something together with that organization.
They lost today, man.
Yeah, but I watch a little bit of baseball, but baseball is one of those sports that's just like way too many damn games, and like it's hard to keep up with a busy lifestyle. And then basketball, I like basketball, but I watch very little NBA. Like college basketball a little better, but I haven't been watching a whole lot of college basketball lately because Kentucky's, bottom of the barrel
Kentucky,
these days.
You don't have major sports here. So you grow up being a diehard UK fan, and Coach Cal has ran this program into the blender.
Yeah, it's
By the way, he's back another year, ladies and gentlemen.
It's funny because I never would have thought that back in the day. But then, as years went on, it's like, man, this guy is not winning nothing with these amazing players. Kentucky has the best, literally there's a Kentucky player on every NBA team dominating, but John Calipari couldn't win a championship with those guys. It's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But yeah, that's kind of it. As far as sports podcasts and stuff go, though, I don't really watch any that much.
E says Roe Torrance, corner of Arizona State. I haven't watched any Arizona State corners. I'll go check out Roe Torrance. Is he out for sure? There's a big group of guys that I haven't got to look into just yet because they didn't get to the combine or anything like that. So I'm just now caught up on the combine and things. So,
right.
Yeah.
This is an interesting take on this, and I kind of agree with John. He says he lives in Topeka, Kansas, but they need to leave the Truman Sports Complex alone because the Royals can't even put a winning team on the field. The Royals have gave Kansas City a trash product since they won the World Series back in 2015. But they're expecting to have a brand new state-of-the-art top of the line downtown ballpark for a team that they can't even put a team on the field. So I feel you. I get that.
Small market though, man. That's what baseball does. How do you
baseball? Well, that's another thing.
And
while we're talking about that
Red
real
Sox.
quick, yeah, a lot of people don't like the salary cap in the NFL. They don't like it. There's a lot of casuals that just talk about how salary cap's stupid. We should be able to sign whoever wants to come and play here and whoever we can afford. That's what's going to turn into baseball. You got the Royals owners can't afford to pay what the Dodgers are paying people. You just can't, and they can't compete. So it's a rarity when you see a small market team like the Royals win a World Series, like 14 and 15. They had a good product on the field, but it's not common. It's just money buys you a team in baseball, and it's whoever has the most of it.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well.
Fortunately, football's not that way.
Yeah, we can't. We'd never be able to compete. But anyways, man, let's take a few more questions. Let's talk about the draft for just a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Steve,
man, I gotta go eat dinner. I haven't ate dinner, man. I haven't ate all day. I'm tired. Just been working.
Right. So there's a few groups we haven't talked about tonight. We've talked a little bit about running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, tackles.
Pretty much.
We've talked about the defensive tackles a little.
We didn't do linebackers, but
we haven't done linebackers and defensive ends. So let's talk about them for a little bit.
Right, defensive. Let's start with defensive. Let's start with defensive end because I feel like that's more of a need for the Chiefs.
So defensive end is a position that I think drops off a cliff after 5 picks? And
it's
to be honest, the
deep.
first 2 picks are probably...
It's not very deep.
No, I think the most ready to go, like right this second, is Leatu Latu from UCLA, but he's got neck issues. So, whatever. Jared Verse, I feel like he's just the typical Florida State guy that's going to come in and probably bomb.
Who's the kid from Alabama?
Dallas Turner. He's not a put your hand in the dirt kind of guy, though. He's 6'3", 247. He's probably going to get thrown all over the field.
Who do you think Atlanta ends up taking? Because I have a feeling if they're probably going to go defense. I was talking about that with the Atlanta Falcons fan today. I said that I could see them taking Jared Verse, but he says he thinks Dallas Turner.
Dallas Turner is the popular pick. I've got a sleeper pick there, and I don't even think it's a defensive end. I think they may look at Quinyon Mitchell, corner out of Toledo right there. I think nobody's hardly talked about it, but they do need a corner.
So early?
No. Quinyon's good. Quinyon Mitchell's, I think he's jumped Terry and Arnold now. He run a 4.33 40, a 1.51 split, and has a 38 vertical. That kid is a monster.
Well, back to the defensive ends. I think the one that makes the most sense for the Chiefs, they were taking him the first round. He's there. Everybody likes the Missouri guy. They like Darius Robinson. He's an absolute beast. A lot of people think he's a can't miss pick. They think that he's just going to be a solid player no matter what. I don't
know if I can call him can't miss though. Could you?
Well, no, I can't call anybody can't miss, but they do say that his floor is pretty high, just off of pure ability. Anyone else that falls around that area of the draft that
there's some
intrigues you at all?
Yeah, right. There's some horniness going around from what I can figure out.
Call the horny police,
right? Of Muhammad Kamara out of Colorado State's picking up a lot of traction. Some people, if I'm not, I'm going to tell you right now,
he's pretty good though.
Please watch for the next mock draft that Mel Kiper puts out, and I have this gut feeling Mel Kiper is going to put him in round 1. I just have this sinking feeling that Mel Kiper thinks he's onto something.
He's real big on him right here, right?
And yes, and he's going to horn himself up, and he's going to put Kamara in round 1. That could be the shocker. But look, just mark this down, mark the time, come back, and then 5 weeks later when he does it, somebody else will take credit. Marshawn Nealon is a guy Western Michigan we brought in for a top 30. I don't feel comfortable taking him. I don't think
he's a first-round pick.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable taking him at 32. So where we pick in the second round, if you look in the second round, you're looking at maybe – God, that's what I'm saying. This is horrible. You're looking at maybe Braylon Trice if he falls that far. And honestly, I'm not super big on Braylon Trice. Adissa Isaac out of Penn State, who, by the way, I think he's a good guy that can set the edge and help yourself in the run game, but he's not a pass rushing threat. Adissa Isaac kind of reminds me of why can't I think of his name? The defensive end that's on the free agency market right now that we drafted from Mike Dana. He kind of reminds me of Mike Dana a little bit. He's not flashy, but he's solid, and he does well against the run. So Adissa Isaac, and then if you want to take a shot, you could always maybe take Austin Booker, but at 6'4.5", 240, he's just not a guy that the Chiefs are going to take to set the edge with. You know what I mean? That's another Austin Booker's kind of like B.J. Thompson, and we just
it's not a great defensive end draft. It's really not. Gamer Player, what's up, bud? He says he would like to take Fisk in the second round. Fisk, I don't think Fisk is not going to be there for the Chiefs' second round pick.
I think they would have to trade up. I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now, he's my defensive tackle number 4.
Yeah.
I've got Devondre Sweat edging him out just a little bit, but Fisk made himself a lot of money. He's just light. He's 6'4", 292. He's pretty light.
He's fast.
Also, don't help that he's 24. They don't
he's an old man.
They don't usually like to draft 24-year-olds super high, but Fisk is good. Fisk is good. But yeah, at the defensive end position, if you want to get one, you could maybe find somebody down the list that could be a sleeper. Like if I go down the list,
I have a sleeper pick. I've been saying since day one.
Who? Oh, wait.
Solomon Bird.
Yeah, Solomon Bird.
I've seen some tape on that guy, and I thought he looked pretty good. He kind of reminded me. I don't know if it's necessarily his play style, but for some reason, he kind of hits me as a guy like Malcolm Kuntz, where you like the Raiders kind of hit on him. A guy that's later in the draft and just can really contribute. Right. I get that vibe from Solomon Bird.
Yeah, there was a guy that showed out at the combine. I don't know how much it's going to affect where he gets drafted or not. But Miles Cole from Texas Tech, 6'6", 278. He ran a 4.67 40, and he's got 36 and 7/8 inch arms. It's freaking ridiculous how long his arms are. He could be like a day 2, day 3 kind of guy maybe. And then Brennan Jackson out of Washington State could be a guy to watch at 6'4", 264. I thought he was somewhat athletic. He's a guy. And then if I had to name one more name, maybe Justin Igby from Alabama. He's 6'4", 297. He's a bigger guy, and he didn't run very well.
Igby.
He ran a 5.18 40 and had a 1.8 10-yard split. And his vert wasn't good either. It's like a 28-inch vert. So he has not that much explosiveness, but he can definitely set the edge, and he can be a huge guy on rundowns. He can actually kick inside and play defensive tackle as well. So that wouldn't be a bad name in like maybe round 5, round 6 possibly. That could actually move up and down that line and provide us some depth up there for Spags. So that's a name I just keep an eye
on. Nikki says, why haven't the Chiefs re-signed Dana? So, Nikki, I think what's going on here is he's kind of testing the free agent market. I don't think it's going the way he wants. They might end up re-signing him on a cheaper deal. His market value, according to SpotRack, was $15 million a year, which I think is crazy for Mike Dana. I love Mike Dana. I think he's been one of the most underrated players the Chiefs have had on defense there. But he's not worth $15 million a year. That's wild. So I don't know what's happening there, but I think we might see him back with the Chiefs on a team-friendly deal.
Well, look, the Snead trade, he cleared his medicals. He's cleared his medicals, but the NFL's not processed the trade. Yeah. It didn't release the day. So either they're going to release it on Friday or have a Saturday dump. And they're going to release it then. But it has been now almost a week, and the NFL's not processed this trade. So technically, the Chiefs don't have that money yet.
Right.
So that's another reason we haven't been digging around signing people. So until the league processes that, we're just getting held up by a bunch of red tape by bureaucrats.
There.
Go figure.
Slowing down the Chiefs.
People in charge can't get it together. Tucker says, what do you think about Javon Solomon from Troy? I watched a little bit of him. He's in my top 20 defensive ends, but he's a little guy. He's 6'1", 246. So I just don't know how those little guys play into our defense. Spags just loves those big, overwhelming guys that can seal the edge.
So what if you got to pick 32 and Chop and Darius were both on the board? Who are you taking?
Good question. Chop's a good athlete.
Don't you have to kind of go Chop? Because like I said, he can double up as a mascot. His name's Chop, baby.
Yeah, he chops.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he ran a 4.48. That's pretty good. That was just right behind Dallas Turner at a 4.46. 6'3", 254. I just don't think he's big enough. I don't think he sets the edge in the defense as well. And honestly, he only had 4 sacks, and he got 2 of them against like a really horrible opponent. So
don't you think he's kind of like a really, not even saying that high end, like quality wise, but price wise, or where you'd have to take him? It's kind of just like a BJ Thompson.
Yeah, he's kind of got that vibe to him. I mean, he's like not as raw as BJ
really fast
Thompson.
And athletic, right? But just fast, athletic, like a little bit smaller.
Yeah, I wish I knew like a good comp off.
So you go. So I think Darius is the safer pick, 100%. Like that's who you would probably take, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Darius is a beast too. Like I feel like there's some work that needs to be done. I think like Maybe his arsenal could be worked on a little bit, and I think he could be a force.
You know what's
So,
funny? Lance Zierlein has Chop Robinson comped. Steve, you want to just take a guess who he's comped him to? This is one of the wildest comps I've ever seen in my life.
well, then how am I going to guess it?
I'm talking about it's wild because it's a player that is so well known, and I don't even think they're going to be on the same planet together.
Hassan Reddick?
Crazier. Think top 5 defensive players in the league. He's got a podcast.
Max Crosby?
Another guy that's got a podcast.
He did not comp on Micah Parsons.
Micah frickin' Parsons.
Everybody's got a podcast, bro. That was not a good hint.
That's true. He has put Chop Robinson on the same level as an NFL comp as Micah Parsons.
That's stupid.
That is the most ignorant thing I've ever read in my life. And look at this. An NFC National Scout says, I get the comparison to Micah Parsons, but I think Parsons was a little more polished as a football player when he came out. Chop is a little green.
Do you think you're just like, here's the thing. Maybe it's just like certain things of his game remind him of him, because like we were talking about Nick Bonito a couple years ago. He kind of reminded us of his bend and stuff, reminded us of Derek Thomas, but we weren't saying that was a comp.
Yeah, I guess so.
So maybe that's the kind of the thing he was going for there. I don't know. Different worlds, but
Chop Robinson is actually an abbreviated name too. He was so big as a baby, his nickname was Pork Chop.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's Pork Chop Robinson.
Dude, I love Pork Chop.
He switched it to just Chop. But I think we should just start calling him Pork Chop.
Well, I would definitely take Darius over Pork Chop, but I do like Pork Chop.
Brent said probably just because they both went to Penn State. Yeah, people do lazy comparisons like that.
That's true.
Who's Lad McConkey?
He's Cooper Kupp because they're white.
Cooper Kupp every time, baby.
But no, there is some similarities there, though.
A little bit, yeah.
Yep. Man, I think we're going to call it a night, though, guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate all you guys with the donos. Thanks for helping support the channel. The more donos, the more content, baby. That's just how it kind of goes. So we appreciate you guys. And do us a favor. If you haven't hit the like button, hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you have not. Real quick before we leave, I just want to shout out Scrambling Armchair one more time, because he did this for us while we were demonetized, but he's been demonetized. Appreciate the 2 gamer player, by the way. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it, brother.
But Scrambling Armchair got demonetized by YouTube for no good reason. Stupid stuff, kind of same thing we were dealing with. If you guys don't care, for $1 a month, he put up a Patreon, which we have one as well. But do us a favor, go to Scrambling Armchair. I think it's patreon.com/Scrambling Armchair. It's $1 a month. Go do that for him, just so he can kind of supplement a little bit of income for all the hard work he's doing, because we know how annoying it is to put in hours with this stuff and not get any kind of compensation monetarily. It's tough, and it can kind of kill a channel if you're not persistent. So do him a favor and go over there and do that.
Yeah, I agree. He does good content, dude. But I guess that wraps it up for the night. Like,
I'm
gonna
go
a lot of stuff. I think you should go eat.
I'm gonna go eat Pizza Hut. I have Pizza Hut upstairs. I got some burning hot wings.
But for the next few days, though, Steve, I think
real quick, this is your chance, Pizza Hut, to sponsor a video of all chiefed up.
A little stuffed crust. I can see it now. Are you horned up for some stuffed crust?
What was it called? What was it called back in the 90s when they had the little thing where you eat your pizza backwards? Do you remember that? They had like a little slogan.
No.
Somebody in the chat has to remember this.
I thought you were just talking about Book It. If you read enough books, you got to eat
No,
pizza.
that was a thing too. But remember, they had like a whole campaign, like a whole marketing thing where it was eat your pizza backwards. I can't remember what they called it though. Dang, what was it? Oh well, that's what I'm not going to eat my pizza backwards. I'm about to go eat some, but appreciate you guys.
They should have got AC Slater to do that. Sit it from the back, eating a pizza from the back. That
with his mullet. With his curlet.
Yeah, we're going to jump on this week probably and do, we're going to figure out our new mock draft. So look out for that coming up too. And we'll have some more content on just about everywhere. But yeah, we're going to lay out our top 10 quarterbacks and running backs soon. That'll probably be on everything. I don't know if we'll do a YouTube video. YouTube doesn't like to push out draft content. It's almost a waste of time.
Well, I think it's a special kind of Chiefs fan that really wants to dig into the draft. I think there's a lot of casuals and a lot of new fans that don't really dive that far into it. So, I mean, like,
yeah, bandwagoners don't like team building.
Yeah, why would they? Carth, my wings are probably pretty cold, but I did get the burning hot, so they're going to make me sweat regardless.
Hey, for sure. Go eat those. Hey, you guys hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Hold on. Let me find that outro thing real quick. And
don't even hit it.
Chiefs. What? Don't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There goes a sight from my soul.